Tester one, two, three. All right. Hi, everyone. So, the big one we will be dealing with today is the NHS job search. So, a lot of people have spoken to me, written to me, asked me, tell us, how do we do this? And I said, no problem. I've got you. Now, let's listen to the NHS job search. Now, a few things I'd like to quickly cover in this video is just an interesting thing about the NHS. And precisely, I think the people that need to understand the NHS job search, the struggle with it, are IMGs. So this video would focus on IMGs. IMGs are a big part of the UK healthcare now, and I think recent data shows about 30% now of the doctors working in the NHS and across the UK are IMGs. I'm not sure of the US figures, but I think that's also maybe between 20 to 30%. So it's a big part of the whole structure. Now, what is the job market update? So, just to simplify it, the NHS has consistently, across the four parts of the United Kingdom, that's England, Wales, Northern Ireland, and Scotland, posting about 500 jobs per week. So that's always something to apply for. 500 new jobs per week. So once you've understood this, and you understand that there's an NHS for England, there's an NHS for Scotland, there's an NHS for Wales, and there's what you call the Health and Social Care Board in Northern Ireland. That's it. But you don't really need to bother about the technicalities. I wouldn't bore us because we all know that for you to practice as a doctor, you need to get GMC registered. And so once you've gotten GMC out of the way, then that moves. We won't talk about the ways to get GMC registered. I think that's been dealt with. Now, the roles are a range from foundation to consultant. From my knowledge of the field, a lot of IMGs, just a small number of IMGs will come at foundation level. Many IMGs will come somewhere in the middle. Yeah. And so a few come and get into consultant roles. Where can you look for these jobs? Again, this may sound obvious, but you have NHS portals. So you have track jobs, you have that for Scotland, you have that for Wales. You have the BMJ site called the BMJ Careers, which is very useful. It has a range of mix of hospital jobs, research jobs, teaching jobs, and things like that. And of course, the middlemen, which are the agencies that specialize. And when these jobs are in the site, of course, they trickle down to, other sites like Indeed and so on and so forth. Now, if we understand this, there's a concept that I need to teach most people. It applies to looking for any job, but very important in the NHS. Now, you must understand something I call what are they looking for? What do they need to feel? Because whatever rule, remember in 500 rules that's come onto the job pool, there's something that is missing in that hospital, in that trust. So the roles have been crafted to fill that as much as possible. So that's what they are looking for. What do they need? The next thing you need to think about is what have you got to offer? Now, the job or the concept of how you become the best candidate for the role is a beautiful marriage between what they are looking for and what you have to offer. in a competitive environment. Therefore, you are trying to get this, what you are trying to get the blend. You want your blend to be better than the blend any other person is offering. And so that's key to understand this philosophy. Now, the next is your CV. Now, let me, because I'm a clinical academic, isn't it? But let me simplify the clinical CV. The clinical CV is not ordinarily, um, doesn't need to be laden with so many qualifications. There are a few qualifications that are important in clinical work: your basic medical qualification, your postgraduate medical qualification, and the competency trainings, and then your clinical experience. These are the core. A few addendum comes as research and all of that. So let me just simplify this for us. Now, I think a lot of IMGs struggle with what is a degree. A qualification is any degree, any qualification that is awarded by a degree or a diploma awarding institution that has the power to do so. So what would fall there would be things like qualifications, awarded by universities that at least is up to 2 semesters. So something like a postgraduate certificate, something like a postgraduate diploma would be appropriate, something like a master's degree and undergraduate degree. For the avoidance of doubt, PLAB, IELTS should not be put in qualification. They are not by any means stretch educational qualifications. They fall under things like proficiency tests, things like licensure tests, and things like that. So they don't fall. However, if you've got MRCGP, MRCP, MRChem, any of the Chem, MRCOG, MRCS, clearly those are professional qualifications if you want to be more technical. But a lot of people would accept them as educational qualifications because if you look at the length, the length of the exams and the amount of teaching and what's recognized, that would fall as that. So that's the first thing to clarify. You need to format your CV so that it shows that you understand the certain basics. The next is you must remember what I said. The system is looking to fill a role. Your clinical experience must tell a clinical story. What do I mean? Now, I see people write things like medical officer. It's non-specific. It's too generic. Nobody understands your experience. So you need to say across the years what you have experience or expertise in. Now, it can be a mix of several things. I've largely done 3 things in my career. So I've worked in general practice, infectious disease, and surgery. That's it. Clinically, these have been the areas I've worked in across my career. So you want to put the role with a qualifier that says what it relates to so that quickly people can tell the majority of your experience where it belongs to. So this is important and I see a lot of CVs, people don't do this. Your CV has to tell, your parent CV has to tell a clinical story and it starts from grade. It's also helpful to try and have in bracket the UK equivalent so that whoever is reviewing your application understands at what level you can be placed in the system. Remember what I've just taught? The system is what are they looking for? So if you put something from an international environment, they need to make a sense at it and say, where would you fit? So this is useful in the hiring process. So I think we've covered a decent amount of so importantly, again, the work is becoming more and more specialized. And what you want to try and do is you want to accumulate experience and if possible, qualifications in a specialized area wherever possible. So, meaning you want to show that you have significant experience in either emergency medicine, pediatric surgery, obstetrics, gynecology, especially in the clinical part. This is important because the systems generally, if you look at the NHS, where oftentimes we know that most of the roles is in the middle area. So people are looking for at least not too inexperienced, but again, not unexperienced. Therefore, there is return on investment if you recruit a doctor from overseas to come into the system. Therefore, so they don't spend too much time, before getting return of investment. So you want to, as much as possible, try and gain experience that is specific to the need, to what the system is looking for. Now, let me just run us through a little bit of what the NHS tend to look for shortly. So